Hello everybody, how are you all doing? Welcome back to Man City Unplugged, your very own Man City fan channel. The midnight matches are back again, and it's the FA Cup. Today, when will this round of away fixtures end? When have we been facing teams away? Right from Spurs, right in North London. Spurs away, then Arsenal away. Then you had, I think, one game at home, Villa at home, I think. After that, it was all away games. Nottingham Forest away, Bournemouth away, now Bristol away, Leipzig away in the middle. Wow, 5, 6 away games. Just can we just take our hats off to the people who have scheduled this? You've got it perfectly right. Citizen 7 is here. Hey, Citizen 7, how are you doing, mate? What do you think about today's lineup? What do you think about Calvin Phillips? That was the one thing I wanted to ask you all. Yeah, good, good. Even I'm doing extremely good, man. I'm just looking forward to this game. I'm looking forward to Calvin Phillips playing especially. He's been awful for us. He's been atrocious for us. So I just want to see how he adapts to this Pep Guardiola system. Because Pep himself, in I think the press conference before this game as well, Pep himself has told that Calvin Phillips is still not adapted to the way we play. He's not adapted to our tempo and the speed at which we want to pass the ball, speed at which we want to take decisions and stuff. So it will be interesting to see how Calvin Phillips will play. Other than that, I think Bernardo Silva is another interesting character for me because I genuinely think that Bernardo Silva slows the game down, especially in this sort of a system where you're playing with an out and out striker. So I guess he'll be sold in the summer because we are being linked to Nicola Barella as well. That has come out today from a lot of good Italian sources. City are in the race to sign Nicola Barella. Alexis McAllister from Brighton. So we are in and around players like Bernardo Silva. This suggests to me that Bernardo Silva is gonna go. Citizen 17 says, hope Callan will perform well. He didn't get enough time and also sad because he's not available for most of the matches. That's true. Injury thing. I mean, I've never understood the little. I mean, not little, but a lot of hatred that Callan Phillips was getting, especially from our fans because people are telling Calvin Phillips is being shied this season. He should be sold in the summer and all of that stuff. But I mean, I just wonder how short-lived the memory of most of the people is because Rodri was the same thing. I myself was telling the same thing about Rodri. How can this man replace Fernandinho? He was just playing shit if you remember in his first season. And look at what Rodri has become now. He's the best CDM in the world. Whatever anyone says, the best number 6 in the world. That's what he is become. So I think we need to give Calvin Phillips time. I'm sure that Calvin Phillips will come extremely good. Citizen 17 says Bernardo man can play in every position. That is there, Citizen 17. But one thing about Bernardo is, especially when Haaland is playing, what I'm noticing is Bernardo, he plays one pass too many. I don't know if it's the hangover from the false nine system or does he fear losing possession. I don't know, but when Haaland makes that run, the ball doesn't go to him. The ball doesn't go to Haaland. Bernardo chooses to pass it to De Bruyne or pass it sideways. And by the time the defense comes and covers Haaland. So Bernardo has been playing one pass too many and in a lot of games. The Forest game was an example. So I just think that Bernardo might not be the best player for this system, which we want to bring about with Erling Haaland and stuff. Vinay is here. Hey Vinay. He says Barella, Italian players leave. Nicola Barella he's been linked with Liverpool as well and us. Chelsea are also in a shot, but mostly it's Liverpool and us. So that is true. Liverpool players, sorry, Italian players generally don't leave, but Nicola Barella, I think he's on the move. I think Gundo is leaving, Bernardo is leaving. I think we are targeting Alexis McAllister, Nicola Barella, and Jude Bellingham is a little bit iffy here and there, I think. I think Pep sees Maxima Paron as a long-term player for next season as well. So I think we'll have a big jig in the midfield next season. Citizen 17 says McAllister is a good option. I actually think instead of going for Jude Bellingham, because even today the news has come that Jude Bellingham is more, he's showing more interest in joining Liverpool than coming to us. I mean, fair enough. I think if that happens, I think Alexis McAllister is not a bad option. Alexis McAllister, I mean, I've seen little clips of him play and stuff, and he's a very good, I mean, dribbler. He doesn't lose the ball. I think with Alexis McAllister, you're getting all of the qualities of Bernardo Silva, plus you're getting that sense of that sense of someone who can inject that pace into the game, someone who can make that through ball, someone who can make that pass very fast. I think with Bernardo Silva, I mean, I don't understand this, because when Bernardo was at Monaco, he had Mbappe in the middle, Lemar on the wing, and he used to make that pass. But then I think due to playing in this false nine system time and again for the last 3 4 years, I think Bernardo has lost that thing of making that killer pass. So, and also I think Bernardo has been asking to leave for a long time. Nothing on the lad. He's been a professional. I still remember the way the energy and stuff Bernardo gave us on the pitch all these years. But I think if Bernardo wants to genuinely leave, I think we take at least 60 70 from Barcelona and then we spend it on McAllister. I think that would be one of the bargains of the season. Vinicius Phillips 26 and 27 next season. We need like 24, 25 who will have good pace and energy. But one thing Vinay with Calvin Phillips is, which a lot of people are not discussing as well, it's just passing range. The passing range of Calvin Phillips is just superb, I think. The differentiation between Rodri and Calvin Phillips is his passing range. Passing the diagonals Phillips can hit. And also another thing which people are not getting is Calvin Phillips has played in one of the most complex tactical systems ever in Marcelo Bielsa, under Marcelo Bielsa, where he held the midfield in a frantic manner. He was single-handedly guarding that entire midfield. So I think we need to give Calvin Phillips time. Let's see how he does in this match. Inai says Jude isn't a must signing. Even with this scrap midfield, we get job done. Any decent midfield will do. And I don't think that if we get McAllister, it will be a massive downgrade from Jude Bellingham. McAllister, we must remember, has been an integral part in Argentina's football World Cup success. People in that Argentinian team, it's a long shot. Ah, what a save from the Forest. Sorry, from the Bristol City keeper. What a save. Wonderful save, but what a shot that was. I didn't see who hit the shot, but what a shot that was and what a save. Yeah, so Jude isn't a must, and Alexis McAllister, people were telling that he's almost like a Lionel Messi and stuff in terms of coming out from tight spaces. So I think McAllister, in fact, will be an upgrade over whatever we have got in the midfield right now. Upgrade in the sense, he'll bring that something different, which I think will suit playing to Erling Haaland's strengths more and more. And anyway, another other surprising player we have been linked to is Mateo Kovacic. He has his contract expires next year. Bristol City are on the break. Bristol City are on the break. Good pass, and I think the Bristol City winger had an empty net to aim at. But good game. It's just going on end to end. So Mateo Kovacic's situation is interesting here because rumors are that Kovacic has 2 years. His contract expires next year, and Chelsea we know doesn't let players go on free like some clubs like United do. They do shitty business. So Chelsea. Rumors are that Chelsea would like to sell Kovacic this summer if he doesn't sign an extension. And they say that Pep is very interested in Mateo Kovacic. JSK says, I want Alexis McAllister over Kovacic. I think Alexis McAllister will come, uh, irrespective of if he is signing Kovacic or not. I actually think, looking at us being linked heavily to McAllister, I actually think both Bernardo and Gundogan are going to leave. And I think Pep wants Kovacic in place of Gundogan and McAllister in place of Bernardo Silva. I think those are the two. And Pep knows he has Maxima Peron. So and I think Pep is interested in Kovacic because Kovacic is unpressable. You could say he's somewhat like your Frankie De Jong. That not that kind of a player, but in terms of you can't press him easily. He has a lot. His pressing intensity is very good, and we know that Pep has even tried to sign Kovacic from Real Madrid. I think what 2 years ago, three. I mean, before he joined Chelsea, Pep tried to sign Kovacic from City as well. So Vishal says Arsenal looking to sign Gundogan for next season. Not so sure about that, but we could use that experience. Hey Vishal, not just Gundogan. There are rumors that Arsenal is looking to sign him and Raheem Sterling as well. Looks like Mikel Arteta wants to bring in a lot of his wants to be reunited with a lot of his old contingent. But I actually think Gundogan might be useful for you. If Gundogan is there, I think Gundogan starts ahead of Jorginho if Gundogan signs for you. But again, I actually think Gundogan would go to Barcelona. I think Barcelona looks the best fit for Gundogan because Busquets is contract. I mean, not contract, but Busquets is almost on the verge of retirement, and Barcelona cannot afford a decent CDM with the financial this thing. So I think. I think Gundogan's contract is up this summer. Yes, we have offered him an extension. So I think Barca go for Gundogan on a free. I think that's a Barca do business. So looking at all of it, I think Barca Gundogan looks to be much more of a viable option. But specifically with respect to Arsenal, I think you guys need to sign someone like a Thomas Partey and not a Gundogan because whenever Partey is out, okay, Jorginho is managing, but generally whenever Partey is out, it looks as if you're going down that notch a bit. So I think you should look to sign someone who's like Partey. Vinay says McAllister doesn't have that much pace. I think I think he has decent pace. When I actually think he has McAllister has decent pace. He might not have as much pace, but yeah, he has decent pace. But his positioning is actually very good. What I've seen is the way he intercepts the ball and stuff has actually been very good. JSK says, and Liao is more important than Bellingham. That is true, JSK. That is true because even if we don't get Bellingham, I think we can either go for McAllister or Kovacic, or we can do with Maxima Parone, or even Phil Foden can slot in there. So we have options in the midfield. Rico Lewis potentially can play there, and he's looking absolutely good. Pep told in an interview that he sees Rico Lewis in the midfield in the future. I was wondering after listening to that interview, which player does Pep not see in the midfield? He bloody sees even Ederson playing in the midfield in the future. But yeah, Rafael Leao is going to be the most important signing. I was just wondering, are we going to get Quara or Rafael Leao? Quatra seems to be a very difficult signing to do, especially with the way Napoli negotiate and stuff. It's 1-0 City. What a wonderful goal that is. That is a perfect goal. This is a dream Pep Guardiola goal which Phil Foden has scored. I mean, when was the last time we saw this happen? Winger to winger goal. When Raheem Sterling and Leroy Sané played, these goals are so common, right? Winger to winger. How much of a time has it been? Seen these winger to winger goals. Look at that third man pass. This is just wonderful. It just takes you back to the memory lane, right? The winger passes to the midfielder and he runs, and then the opposite winger comes across, and it's a winger to winger goal. Perfect ball by Mahrez and a perfect finish by Foden. 2-2 for Foden. Wonderful, wonderful. That's a wonderful start by City. Brilliant goal that will actually lift Foden's spirit up. Yeah, like I said, Rafael Leao is a must. He brings something different to the team. I mean, even over Quatra, I'm actually more inclined towards Rafael Leao because I think Rafael Leao brings that raw pace. Does Quatra have raw pace? I don't think he's quick, but he's not a Rafael Leao with that pace and stuff. So JSK says he will cost nearly 150 million. Vishal says we will definitely get Rice next season. Rice is not easy, Vishal. Chelsea are in for Rice. I mean, and I think when I say the name Chelsea, I think at least in the transfer market it should scare you because whenever Chelsea are in, they somehow seem to outprice you. I think if it's 150, Vishal, I actually think maybe Chelsea have more chance if Chelsea really do want Rice. But looking at Declan Rice, I've always thought that he would end up more at Chelsea than at Arsenal or even at City when we were linked to him. But I always thought that he would end up more at Chelsea. And Chelsea, I've always wanted to get him as well. So City on the counter attack. Can we get something? De Bruyne with a straight mark through ball. What a through ball, but the keeper's there. But the keeper's there. Vishal says Rice will be about 70 million. West Ham are going to finish in the bottom five for sure with the way they're playing. They lose their best players for sure. That is true, Vishal. If suppose West Ham get relegated or stuff, then you can get Rice for cheap. But then there'll be a lot of competition. Liverpool will come. Uh, Probably a United will come. City will come. I mean, there'll be a lot of competition if Declan Rice is going for 70, and we know, like for example, if Rice is going for 70, if West Ham get relegated, and if Rice is going for 70, then Chelsea will come and pay 100. That's it. Then West Ham will sell to him. So I think this summer is going to be a big race for midfielders actually. JSK says Guardiola and Liao must signing. But JSK again, Guardiola, I think Guardiola will like Luis. Is that a penalty? The ref says it's not a penalty. But that is wonderful defending from Rico Lewis. There was an appeal for a penalty. The Bristol City players are like stunned. There's an appeal for a penalty. I don't think that's a penalty. There's nothing that Rico Lewis has done. There's nothing wrong that Rico Lewis has done. It's just body to body. There's nothing wrong. Probably a little bit of yeah. That's not even a push. That's a little bit of arm around the Bristol City player's shoulder. So I don't think it's a penalty. Vinay says, won't mind if we get Bastoni, Barella. Yeah, speaking of the Guardiol thing, I think we get Guardiol if Laporte leaves. I mean, rumors have been coming of the Laporte situation that Laporte is not happy with the playing time and stuff and all of that. So I actually think this system with Haaland, I think Guardiola is more suited. The reason being, when we were playing in that false nine system, you could play with the Ruben Diaz and Laporte as a centre back partnership because a lot of players were pressing and stuff. But now with Haaland, that intensity of the press, that numerical advantage in the middle becomes less. So your press is a tad bit lower than it was with the false nine, which means that opposition players have time to look up and play the ball. And is Laporte fast enough to defend those spaces? I don't think so. So I actually see Aymeric Laporte leaving and probably we us going for Guardiola. I think Liao, and if you do not get anyone, if you do not get any of the midfielders, but still if you sign Rafi Liao and Josko Guardiola, I think it's still a pretty good summer for us because those both have actually been the Achilles heel for us, right? This season. No injection of pace through the wings, and sometimes the centre backs are caught on the counter attack. They just can't, track back. Vinicius won't mind if we get Bastoni, Barella. That is true, but again, Bastoni, he's right-footed, right? I actually think we're going for a left-footed defender. So, I mean, if Bastoni is left-footed, I don't know, but Bastoni is right-footed, then I think surely we don't go for him because Akanji right, Stones right, Diaz right. We'll only have one left-footed centre back. Then in our case, so I think Pep will actually like to have at least two left-footed centre backs in the squad. Vishal says Chelsea won't finish in European places this season. That will affect the transfer business to some extent. They might actually not finish in the top four and stuff, but with Chelsea the thing is they're ready to splash money, right? Because we have seen with United even though they were playing in Europa League spaces and places and stuff, they were willing to offer double the wages to a player. They were almost willing to offer double the price to the selling club. And I think Chelsea are a club such that they will do both. They'll offer double the wages and they'll also offer double the transfer fee. When such a scenario is there, I think even the player will think, well, Chelsea have got such a good team and stuff. It will just be 1 year. They'll be back in the UCL places. They and all of those things. So Chelsea can sell the dream, and Chelsea can also pay more. So I think when you have both those combinations, new owner, new coach, I mean all of those things. So I actually think when it will come to a money battle, when Chelsea really want to just offer so much money, I think there are only so many clubs who can compete. JSK says Guardiola is needed even if he costs 100 million plus, especially for the Croatian boon. Exactly, JSK. Now we have got the curse lifted by Yaya Toure, and the next thing we need is the Croatian boon. Get Josko Guardiola, and also I think Guardiola would. I mean the combination. I've always thought that centre backs are about combinations, and I think Diaz and Guardiola, the combination would just be extreme, right? Superb. It would just be a superb combination. So I think we need to get Guardiola. When I says no pen too easy, yeah, he just went down too easy. That was never a pen. Vinay says I'm reluctant on Guardiola of price tag of 100 million that affects players. Now when I think Chelsea have come and when Chelsea, from the moment they offered 70 million for Cucurella, you offer 80 million, round about 70, 80 million. I think it's 80 million for Fofana. I think it's fair enough for Leipzig to ask 100 for Guardiola, right? If Fofana is 80, I think Guardiola is easily 130, not even 100. So I think the mistake here is it's not a mistake, but that's how the market is. Chelsea have inflated the market, just like PSG did when they bought Neymar, and I think we all have to deal with it. I think the effects of Chelsea's inflation of the market will be visible in the summer transfer window. Mudrik 100. I mean, they literally paid whatever the price that the clubs asked for. The Chelsea owner thought he was playing football manager. The sad thing was it was in real life and it was not on a computer. That was the only sad thing for the Chelsea manager. Sorry, for the Chelsea owner. JSK says UCL greater than 100 million. I won't mind even if it goes for 200 million. I think it would be fair to look at it this way. If we are going to sell Laporte, I think in the worst case scenario, we are going to get 40, 50 million for Laporte. Okay, let's think even 40 million for Laporte, right? And he has a lot on his contract. I think at least 3 years more. So 40 million for Laporte, which means Josko Guardiola's fee is almost down to 60 million, right? And 60 million for Josko Guardiola is nothing, right? It's just fair amount of money. So I think if we sell Laporte, then I think we are gonna buy Josko Guardiola. There's no second thought about it. Vishal says, dude, splashing money isn't sufficient. If they're not playing in Europe, top players won't want to go. But Vishal, just look at the condition of United. Top players did want to go there, right? Even though they were not in the Champions League. So that's almost the sad reality now. Splashing money is enough. I mean, again, it depends on the player. Like for Haaland, it wasn't. For Jude Bellingham, maybe it will not be. But for some players, it's enough. So I think it's a player by player thing. Not all the players would think, oh, this team is in UCL and stuff like that. So I think it depends on a player by player thing. And also I think if even if you're not in Europe, you could actually sell the project that you're trying to build under the new owner. Todd Bowley would say this: we aim to go here and here, this is what we aim to do in the next 3 4 years. And there are players who, who, even though Chelsea are not in the Champions League, the players would love to believe in the project. Some players would love to lead the project from the front, and they would go there. So there are a lot of aspects. And I think we must believe we got Yaya Toure, for example, we got David Silva, for example, when we were not in the Champions League, when we were almost just starting our journey, because they believed in the dream. And at that time, David Silva was wanted by Pep Guardiola at Barcelona. David Silva was the chief arc, one of the chief midfielders in that Spain Euro winning team, World Cup winning team. So, and you had Yaya Toure, who played in that Barcelona setup. So I think if you can sell the dream well and stuff like that, I think even though you're not in Europe, still you can attract players. Good through ball, that's a very good through ball, and I think Phil Foden's through. Bernardo Silva on the left, and it's Phil Foden, Nathan Ake. The game's actually been even, it's been end to end. I won't say that City have dominated everything. Bristol City have had some sharp moments as well. But Calvin Phillips looks to be actually much more decent in this game, hasn't made as many mistakes. That's a good ball through, and Phil Ford and they're out wide. Bernardo Silva in acres of space. Good defending by the Bristol City player. City are recycling the ball again. Vinicius Alvarez is press machine really. I think his pressing is just one of the best in the world. I mean, I actually think he presses all. I think his presses actually. I mean, one of the best presses I've seen is Bernardo Silva, and after that, Gabriel Jesus. And I actually think he presses a bit better than Gabriel Jesus, and his pressing is almost as intense as Bernardo when, but in that 2019, 20, 18, 19, those seasons, Bernardo was just a supreme presser. That energy, I think Alvarez is right up there. He's in the top two, top three pressers of the world, Julian Alvarez. Vinicius, I would ask Yaya and Silva themselves to suggest players like them. Are there players like them? Yaya Toure? I don't think you'll. I mean, I would not say you'll never see a midfielder like that, but it would be very rare. Yaya Toure, he had that power to, bulldoze through any defense. You remember that goal against Swansea, for example, Yaya Toure, it was waning, I remember, I think it was against Swansea, 2014, I think, 2014 season, when we pipped Liverpool to the title, Steven Gerrard slip. So Yaya Toure literally ran through the entire midfield, and he went past five players. He bulldozed three players, shoulder to shoulder, and something like that. I was like, you will not see a player like that, player like Yaya Toure, very rarely. Because players have class, they can play through the midfield, but they're not physically as this thing. I think the combination is actually very difficult to get, where you're so well physically built and you have all of those silky attributes as well. I thought Paul Pogba was somewhat like that. But Paul Pogba injuries, that was almost like a talent wasted. And Paul Pogba's career is just this one nowhere. Rico Lewis has just been wonderful with the ball in the center of the midfield. He's almost been pressure assistant. That's excellent 1-2. Bernardo Silva gets the ball back. The combinations of play from City have been very, very good this match. The quick passing, It was almost, yeah. When Ake is so much improved, when Ake said no to Chelsea, I think yes, it was at the start of the season when I think City almost got an offer of 40 45 million pounds, and Ake said no, and City did not want to sell. Especially Ake said no. I was like surprised. Why would Ake not go there? Because last season I always thought that Ake was not that good on the ball and stuff. That's a good ball forward. Shoot! Ah, I, that was a good goal line clearance by the Bristol City player. So I was a little bit surprised that Ake didn't leave at the start of the season because that last season Ake was not that good on the ball. There were matches when Pep started Ake on the left back, and at half time Pep had to bring on Zinchenko or even Cancelo sometimes to up the ante. It was just not working out with Ake. I thought at Chelsea you'll be the leader of the defense. You'll start day in and day out. Why do you not want to go to Chelsea? And I think this is the reason. He was determined enough. He fought for his place, and he's just gone to the centre back role, which is even more surprising for me. Okay, now he's playing on the left, but generally he plays in the three centre back positions in the formation. So I mean, most of his improvement is on the ball. On the ball, Ake has just been superb, right? He has his ball playing ability, his decision making, when to pass, when not to pass. I won't say he's become press resistant, but he's become difficult to get the ball off. So good improvement by Ake, I would say. I mean, for me, defensive qualities were never a problem with Ake. Ake had the pace, not express pace, but he had good pace, really good pace. One of the faster defenders out there for us. Ake, his 1v1 defending is, I would say, I would even compare equal to Van Dijk. 1v1 Ake is extremely, extremely good. So his defensive attributes were never a problem. He puts the body on the line. He does everything for the team. It's his offensive attributes that for me are little bit of concern. But this season he's been very good. But I think Pep will expect him to improve more because what Pep wants is his left centre back, especially left-footed centre back, to hit the diagonal. And Ake is not that proficient in hitting that diagonal. So I think Pep will actually expect Ake to develop that side of his craft as well. So will be interesting to see how the progression of Nathan Ake goes because he's coming into his prime. 28, I think he's 28, 29 now, and entering his prime as a defender. Still has 3 4 years at the very top level for 5 years for me. I expect him to transition into our leadership group. But Rico Lewis, look at the way he receives the ball. Look at the way he moves on the field. Bernardo Silva slipped. I think was it Bernardo or was it Foden? It was Foden who slipped actually. But just look at the movement of Rico Lewis, guys. The way he has actually gone into space to receive that ball and the way he has hit that diagonal, just fantastic. Rico Lewis, what is the ceiling of the talent for this guy, for Rico Lewis? I'm just like, wow. How can someone at 19, have that mature recognition of spaces? That's just wonderful from Rico Lewis. And defensively as well, he looks very, very good. He has the defensive sense. By the way, what do you guys think about Jan Kuto next season? Because Jan Kuto is due to come back next season. And do you guys also want Joao Cancelo to come back if suppose Bayern don't pay the 70 million for him? Nathan Ake with the ball. Manuel Akanji. The passing has just gone a little bit wayward in the last 4 5 minutes. Pep will not be happy with that. Again, he's passed it out. I think it's the second or third mistake in the last 5 minutes. Pep will not be happy with that at all. Bristol are actually looking to hit that long diagonal, and then they're trying to win the second ball, but City are doing extremely well there to prevent them from winning the second balls. It's wonderful defending from City. Vinay says Jan Kuto isn't coming back and Bayern will uh, negotiate for 40 million. But for 40 million, would you actually sell Joao Cancelo? I mean, probably I wouldn't, because I accept that Joao Cancelo has not been informed this season. But just imagine, that there are some games like, for example, the Copenhagen game. If you take it, Joao Cancelo is outside of the football, and Erling Haaland goes on and scores. So I think if Cancelo can come back into form, then I think it's a dream scenario from Pep, because Cancelo can defend as well, and he might not be the best defender out there, but he can defend it, and he's not the worst either. He has good defensive attributes, and attacking sense, he comes inside and he puts those outside of the footballs and stuff. So I think if Bayern asks 40 million, I personally feel we better keep him. I mean, unless there's really some attitude problem and Pep doesn't want to see his face again, that's a different matter. Then you can even sell him to free for Bayern. But I think if Pep felt he just needed a little bit of change of scenery and something and things like that, and Pep still thinks Cancelo has a lot to offer this team, then I think Cancelo would just be, again, as Haaland settles in. I just think Cancelo would be, and Cancelo regains form. I think Cancelo would be a perfect fit for this team. The Jan Kuto one is interesting, Vinay, because last season the agent of Jan Kuto and Jan Kuto himself, they actually were asking for Jan Kuto to move to another other club. Jan Kuto actually last season, Jan Kuto wanted to move to another club. He had offers as well. I think it was 20 million or something. It was a good price. Thinking that City just bought him for 7 million. So 7 million euros. But Pep Guardiola, it seems that Pep Guardiola specifically instructed uh, City transfer team that he likes a few things about Jan Kuto, and he wants Jan Kuto to develop a little bit better, and he wants Jan Kuto to stay within the football club. There was inside news that Pep Guardiola sees a future for Jan Kuto at City, because one of the key attributes they told about Jan Kuto is the Pep Guardiola loves the way Jan Kuto comes inside, the way Jan Kuto inwards and makes those underlapping runs. Those underlapping runs are a dream for Pep Guardiola, and Jan Kuto is an expert at making that. And another important quality of Jan Kuto is the way he plays those defense splitting through balls, inside the center back. I mean, generally you have fullbacks overlapping and putting a ball from the outside, but one of the specialities of Jan Kuto is he can make those runs inside, or from his outside position, he can find that channel between the fullback and the center back. That's a very interesting attribute, and his passing accuracy, if you see, is one of the best in Europe, especially last season. So, and defensively as well, they say Jan Kuto is good 1v1, and he has pace as well. So I actually think I would be surprised if Pep doesn't look at him a bit in the preseason as well. So I would at least expect Jan Kuto to come back in the preseason, and then expect Pep to make a decision on him. Riyad Mahrez with the ball. What a wonderful switch from Riyad Mahrez. And it's Kevin De Bruyne now finding himself on the left hand side. De Bruyne trying to shoot. De Bruyne is just not getting those shots going. I don't know why. De Bruyne actually tried a lot of shots against Nottingham Forest as well, right? He just couldn't find the net there. And here as well. I know this was from a difficult angle, but at least De Bruyne informed Tess the keeper even from this angle. The game is still open and we are just one goal up. And dare I say that we have been one goal up a lot of times this week, but not all the times we've taken all the points, right? Against Leipzig, against Forest. So I think we need a second goal. The last thing we would need now is a replay. Carl Messier, he says, hello, hey Carl. So I think we need to score the second goal. The last thing in this hectic schedule we want is a replay. And by the way, have you guys actually seen the schedule of the next five games for Arsenal and for City? Bloody hell, we have so many tough games in the next five fixtures. I think we have to play Liverpool, we're playing Newcastle this Saturday. That too, what a surprise, early evening kickoff. And then we have to play Liverpool, and we have tough fixtures. We have tough fixtures. I don't quite remember, but we have a lot of tough fixtures in our next five. And by the way, did you guys notice how, in general, how in the social media and stuff, how United's Carabao Cup was celebrated? They celebrated it as if they won the Champions League. And when we were winning the Carabao Cup straight, from 2017 to 2022, I think we suddenly it once that was to Jurgen Klopp, I think, last season. When we were winning it in so many times, it was just another Mickey Mouse trophy. It was just a trophy that almost had the fourth importance in the after Premier League, after Champions League, Premier League, and FA Cup. And right now, if United win it, it's almost equal to Champions League, right? Yeah, exactly. When I since United won, it's an important trophy. The thing is, they were dancing. Ten Hag was dancing. They were doing all of it like as if they won the Champions League. I mean, we had it for 5 years, for 5 freaking years, and no one even dared to bat an eyelid on it. It's a Carabao Cup. Teams don't take it strongly. That's why City is winning. This and that. All excuses, just hypocrisy at its heights, right? Bristol City on the counter attack here. Bristol City on the counter attack. Don't tell him to shoot. I know the shot went out, but what is bloody Calvin Phillips doing? Why is he backing off? He should get into the tackle there. He should get it. He should get into engage with the person. You just can't give someone so much time and space to shoot. Where the hell is that Calvin Phillips? What is he doing? To be fair enough, I think Rico Lewis tried to make a tackle. It was just a little bit late. Cam says, I'm no City supporter, but what's your thoughts on Potter? Everybody's welcome here, Cam. Everybody who wants to have constructive football discussions is welcome. I mean, Graham Potter is interesting. I mean, deep down, I actually want Graham Potter to be sacked because I see Graham Potter as coming back as I want him to come back as a City coach in the next, especially after the next 4 years. For example, when Pep Guardiola leaves, I don't see Pep going for at least 3 4 years. Hopefully, and after that, I actually want Potter to be City's coach. I think what Potter's telling is correct. There's been no preseason for Potter, and I have a feeling that Potter's just been chucked a hell lot of players by Todd Bowley. Todd Bowley has just tried too hard to impress all of the fans and everything that he can also spend just like Roman Abramovich and he can do all of that. Because looking at Graham Potter and the way Graham Potter has built that Brighton team, Potter's built it from the ground up, right? Potter's developed those Brighton players rather than Brighton bringing in those talents. So you can say that Graham Potter, well, in a big team like Chelsea, that's a good defense from the corner. And so, well, at a big team like Chelsea, I agree that Potter needed one or two signings, but he didn't need an entire 11 of players. So I actually thought Potter needed someone in the midfield and maybe someone in the wing, and that's it. And a striker, especially a midfielder and a striker, not someone in the wing. And and Todd Bowley gave him a lot more things that he can handle. So now Graham Potter not only needs to manage the tactics. Now Graham Potter does not only have the headache of looking at the best tactical setup in order to play Mudryk, Madueke, Enzo Fernandez, Cucurella, everyone. He also has to deal with egos. And I'm not sure about the man management part of Graham Potter still. I'm very sure about his tactical aspect, but I'm not sure about the man management aspect because he's not managed a big team. He's not had to deal with multiple egos. And so I actually think Graham Potter he'll be given time till the end, but I see that him being sad to be better, not just for Chelsea, but especially for Potter's career, because being here for long could actually toxically affect the mentality of someone like a Potter. It could affect his creativity. Because when Chelsea play, I do not see the combinations of Graham Potter. I do not see that movement. I do not see that pattern of passing, which you saw at Brighton and stuff. So mentally Potter's affected, which means that he's not able to deal well with the egos over there. Lot of players over there want to play every day. How do you fit all of them? Big issues. It would be big issues for a big manager. Probably you would want someone like a Jose Mourinho over there or a Pep Guardiola to deal with such big egos, not an inexperienced manager like Graham Potter. Vinay says we have Fernandino as well. Who knows in the next 4 5 years we would also have Ikai Gundogan. Gundogan's doing his coaching batches. We might have an entire contingent of ex-City players as coaching staff. You just do not know. Vinay says Chelsea fans want Jose now. Had decent team at Spurs. But I still don't understand it, Vinay. It's actually basic that how Todd Bowley got it wrong. I still don't understand because you're not buying 11 digital players like in a FIFA or something. You're playing in reality, which means you're purchasing 11 personalities. You're getting into the club 11 human beings. So there will be emotions associated with them. There will be egos. There will be that sadness when they don't play, that happiness when they do play. And there'll be the thing that how does one player adjust with the other player because they're of different nationalities, different languages, the cultures are different. So there's a lot of things than buying £100 million player, £100 million player, £100 million player. They're not your pieces of jigsaw in a football manager. They're bloody humans. So I think that is where Todd Bowley got it wrong. He looked at it completely from a business perspective, not from an emotional perspective, not from a player's perspective. So and that is why I think spending more money for Chelsea this time could be disastrous for them. Not now, but also probably in the next season and the next season because they can only spend so much, right? They can't go on and splashing this much amount of money every summer or every transfer window, right? So now when they really want to buy someone, they'll find that they're in the hurdles by financial fair play and all of those things. So I think that's the mistake he did. He thought he was buying robots, but in fact it was human beings he was buying. That was a good shot. Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin needs to get on the score sheet today. And also, what Jose is doing with Roma is also very good, right? Roma are also not that. I would not say not that good, but they don't have that much of talent and all of those things. And Jose has added a lot of things to Roma. He's added the defensive steel and everything to Roma. So I think Jose would have been perfect for Chelsea, and also it was an interesting choice. It was a very interesting choice that Todd Bowley actually went for, Graham Potter and not for an experienced manager. Because it's often rare, right, when you're especially looking for the rebuild of a club and something like that. You generally go with a bit of experience than with someone who hasn't done that job. It's almost like it's all it's almost like calling in Graham Potter and appointing him in charge of an Everton team instead of Sean Dyche. That's how it would have been. That's how I think the appointment of Potter at Chelsea is. Relegation, you appoint someone who's experienced in dealing with that. Why does Big Sam get relegation job? Same thing. New manager, you want new owner, you want an experienced manager who has dealt with those situations before. When I says KDB, man, what happens? Players nowadays in seconds, moods change. With KDB, I think it's just a case of overplaying. Winner, it's just a case of overplaying. He's just like Rodri. Rodri also this season, he's done very well, but according to his high standards, Rodri is the best six in the world. He's the best DM in the world, according to me. And according to those standards, he slipped a bit. His that 1 second late into interceptions and stuff. I think the same thing with KDB. I think he's looked a bit rusty, especially after the World Cup, right? You could say Belgium going out and all, but I would say playing non-stop football. Last year he's played completely, and and this season he's almost played every game. He's played every game in the World Cup and stuff. So I think the fatigue is just beginning to catch up with players. Some players more than others, you could argue. So I think we should excuse KDB for this season. I'm sure KDB will come back in his best form, fine form next season. I just think this season I wouldn't say write KDB off, but that's a very good ball. When Nathan Ake, very good ball. No one in the center. Phil Foden, very good ball in, but the defender just got ahead of Alvarez. The interesting part now will be how Pep will actually manage KDB, because KDB is not in the best of his rhythm. What will Pep do to bring KDB back to his rhythm? Because one important thing is Pep knows if we have to win this title, if we have to go all of the matches unbeaten till the end. I think it's a simple thing. You win all of your matches and you win the title. That's the thing. You drop points in the middle, then chances just reduce. So Pep knows that he needs KDB, especially in the difficult matches. Especially against Leipzig, Pep knows he needs KDB. So be interesting how he manages KDB's minutes. That's a very good ball. He has to score. Alvarez. What a great chance. It is Alvarez, right? I'm sorry, it was Ruben Diaz anyway. It was not Alvarez, it's Ruben Diaz. So, I mean, the way Ruben Diaz struck that ball, it just seemed as if it was Alvarez, but no. City have defended well, but again, the question will be, can this team keep a clean sheet? I do not know the answer. And the worst result of this match would not be if City lost. The worst result would be a replay. And when that replay would come, it would be freaking put in the middle of a tight, hectic schedule. I'm sure it would be Liverpool one side and another tough team another side. That's where the replay would be put. So I think a replay would be the worst imaginable result for Pep. I think Pep will be happy with the way we have moved the ball, the way we have passed the ball around, and especially the positioning of Rico Lewis. Again, I actually think it's not a 4-3-3, but it's almost similar to the formation that we have put in on the screen. I think Lewis is sitting alongside Calvin Phillips, and that's a wonderful ball out. And great ball in Phil Foden. Phil. That's wonderful. Wonderful work done by Phil Foden, and he's done it well to give it to KDB. KDB does well. And Calvin Phillips in to shoot. Calvin Phillips has been trying a few shots from range. Foden has been extremely electric when he's just been very good. I mean, even in that Nottingham Forest game, Foden's been extremely electric. Okay, he didn't pass, he was caught there, but in passing and shooting and stuff. But honestly, Foden's just been superb in that Nottingham Forest game against Bournemouth. He was unplayable, and here has been superb. And I also think against Leipzig we missed Foden a lot. Okay, Grealish and Mahrez offer you control, but Foden something else. Foden has to start that Leipzig game. I mean, this will be interesting. Now, what will Pep do, especially against Newcastle, for example? It's half time and City are 1-0 up, and I think Foden's been the man of the match till now. But I'm just wondering what will Pep do against Newcastle, because you have Grealish who's been wonderful form, Foden who's been electric in 3 matches, not just 1 match. He's been very good, and you have Riyad Mahrez who's been one of our finest players in the last 1 2 months. So what do you do? Which player do you keep on the bench? Does Pep go with Grealish Mahrez? I mean, I do not want that. I want Foden to play, and I want one of Grealish or Mahrez to play. Then I think the question will be, does Pep want to target the left hand side of Newcastle or the right hand side of Newcastle? If it's the left hand side, I think he plays Foden and Mahrez. If it's the right hand side, I think he plays Grealish and Foden. So, and what do you think? Is Foden more effective on the left hand side, or is he more effective on the right hand side? For me, I think it's actually a difficult one to choose from. But I think on the right hand side, Phil Foden is able to get beyond defenses much more quickly, because Foden's almost playing a little bit more centrally. Whereas if he's on the left hand side, as you see with most of Pep's wingers on the left hand side, Foden is sometimes too much sticking to the touch line when he plays on the left, and in that aspect we are not able to extract everything from him. But on the right, Pep rarely wants his wingers to hug the touchline. They're more of trying to cut inside on the right. So actually, be it Mahrez, be it Foden. So actually, I think playing on the right hand side offers Foden more of a license to run at defenses. It offers him more of a license to make that contact with Haaland. Develop that relationship with Haaland. So actually, I think Foden on the right is much much better than Foden on the left. And what are your thoughts on Calvin Phillips till now? For me, Calvin Phillips, he hasn't been tested as much. Although I was a little bit annoyed with him when he was a bit late for one or two tackles. For example, he allowed someone to shoot from the edge of the box when he should have just gone into him faster. But apart from that, I thought Calvin Phillips was smooth today. He was. He was fluid in terms of passing the ball. He was quick in his decision making and all of those things. But I won't say that Calvin Phillips has arrived and stuff, because Bristol, okay, Bristol are unbeaten in the last 13 14 matches, but they're not the more intensely pressing side, or they're not a very physically imposing side, for example. So bigger tests await for Calvin Phillips, but especially the longer range shooting, his first shot, I think in the first minute of the game, I was really impressed with Calvin Phillips there. It is just wonderful. So Cullen Phillips has been good, but I think Rico Lewis is someone who I've been really impressed with. I know we have talked about Rico Lewis a lot, especially during the match and the build up to the match and all of those things. But I'm still wondering how can he cut inside so seamlessly. And they say that now they are teaching that in the academy ever since Pep came and all of those things. Still, that recognition of space is something which is very very difficult to understand, which Rico Lewis has in appendix. You can't teach that. You can't teach that sense of just like you can't teach that sense of scoring goals. You can teach a striker approach play, how to which positions to have in the box, but you can't teach that sense of a striker when to move, when to be there. Aguero, for example, Aguero's best goals have been when he stood still, not made any movement. When Haaland occupies a particular place and he stays there, for example. In the same way, I think you can't teach that sense of position, that sense of where space is, which space I have to go into. Rico Lewis is almost like he plays the game more in mind than on his feet, which means he's one step ahead in his mind. When Rico Lewis is passing that ball to his centre back, for example, he already knows where the centre back will play the ball, and Rico Lewis is off to that place. That is his beauty. And when you do that, you open new angles, and that is just a tremendous quality, I would say. That ability of playing the game in your mind before the game actually happens on the pitch. Now, I'm not comparing him to David Silva, but David Silva had that unique quality. Kevin De Bruyne has that. Ilkay Gundogan, for example, has that. So, wonderful quality from Rico Lewis. Vinicius Phillips look good in passing. Is look fluid in passing, right? And also one or two of his long range passes were also good. Though I'm still waiting for him to hit that diagonal. Phillips is known for his diagonals. Diagonal out to Foden or diagonal out to Mahrez, especially to Foden. Right to left. Phillips is known for that. If Phillips can make that passing, the diagonal passing, or if Phillips can play those aerial through balls and stuff like that, then I think we would have a different kind of a midfielder from Rodri. So if Phillips is offering that, Phillips is offering more in distribution, and Rodri is offering something else. This is exciting. This is actually more. This will actually be more exciting. Vinay says Rico is physically weak, so defensively he struggle like shoulder to shoulder. I mean, yeah, I think we must remember he's 18, but you're right, he's physically weaker. But I think as he gets to 21, 22, I think, which is still far away, at least 4 or 5 years, right? For Rico Lewis, 4 years at least. So I think he'll grow. He'll grow to be physically good. But even then, even in a defensive aspect, if you see he's aggressive in going into the man, I think one of the things about defending is even if you are physically a bit weak, if you know how to have your body position right, if you know which way to show to the winger, do you want to go let him go on the outside or inside? What is your body positioning and all of those things? I think still you can actually manage but I still think the way Rico Lewis thinks about the game, the way he's one step ahead, I think he'll manage. He'll actually manage it with his intelligence. Rico Lewis will just be wonderful, I guess. What a find! He's unexpected find, right, from the academy. He's the last one. I know in preseason he was good, but Rico Lewis was probably the last one we thought who would get the break this season, because everyone thought this season, okay, Romeo Lavia could get the break. Okay, he was sold, but then we thought Cole Palmer was on the list. Probably James McAtee. Okay, McAtee was sold. You had Cole Palmer. Probably when an Oscar Bob, Josh Wilson Esperant was there, but no one actually thought about Rico Lewis. I think it's another wonderful thing from Pep Guardiola. Wonderful uh, find from Pep Guardiola, and the way Pep Guardiola has thrown him in. I think one of the confidence builders for Rico Lewis this season has been, that Spurs game, Spurs at home, right? When your coach says, when your gaffer says you are playing tonight ahead of someone like a Kyle Walker, a veteran like a Kyle Walker who's almost won most of the things. When your gaffer says you're playing ahead of England's right back, a veteran defender in such an important game, because I thought if City lost against Spurs at home, then I think we were done. The title race was, I think it was more often than not over, because then Arsenal would be much more ahead, and the game at the Emirates would have been different and things like that. So I think the moment Pep threw Rico Lewis on in that game, it was like you just knew Rico Lewis had arrived. I think it was the same thing with Phil Foden. I think if you guys remember 2019, I think when we 2018-19 season when we lost against Spurs due to that war, this thing in the Champions League. I think we had to play Spurs after 2 days at home, and it was the same scenario. If we lost it, I think Liverpool would go 7-8 points ahead and stuff. And Pep threw Phil Foden into that game. At that time, Foden was just sort of starting to come through into the team here and there, and that's when Foden has arrived. So you actually have some glimpses, some situations of knowing when a particular player has arrived. So then Foden, now Rico Lewis. So wonderful way of throwing players into the deep end. Pep doesn't, overwhelm them, but Pep gives them confidence that I trust him in the situation. I trust him in a situation where it's almost life and death for me. And when you throw a youngster into almost that kind of a situation, your youngster is like, this man is giving me a chance when it's his life and death situation, and he could have, given it to his trusted lieutenant like Walker. No, he's giving it to me, and I have to give 100%. I have to give more than my life for him. So wonderful way of sense of management from Pep Guardiola, I would say. This game for me is still 1-0, and I'm almost like, when will we score the second goal? Because I'm just not confident that we can defend a 1-0 lead at least. Seeing the results of the last two, three, even four matches. So I don't know. It will be interesting to see what kind of subs he makes. The interesting thing is, will Pep make any subs at all or not? I even do not know that. I think it was interesting what Pep said about Maxi Peron as well. There were a lot of questions asked to Pep about Maximon Peron, and Pep actually told almost the same things like he did about Rico Lewis. He told that Peron is someone who, again, he's very quick with his 1-2 passing. He just tries to open spaces up with his quick 1-2 passing. And Pep said that he again is plays the game in his head more than in the field. He's always 1-2 steps ahead. Even before the game is played, the game is already played in his head. So I think it's interesting when you hear these kind of a thoughts from Pep Guardiola. He doesn't say this often about players. They're ahead in the mind and all of those things. He has only said this about specific players in the past, i.e., David Silva. I mean, City players. I'm telling David Silva. Then about Rico Lewis, and now about Maxima Peron. So I guess next season Pep sees Maxima Peron as an integral part of the City team. I think I would love to see actually him playing at least 20 minutes in this game. Maxima Peron could be one sub, and I'm just thinking who could be the other subs. I do not want Pep to bring on someone like a Gundogan or someone. I would love Pep to give minutes to Cole Palmer. I'm delighted that he's given minutes to Julian Alvarez actually. But again, there's this dilemma of Pep Guardiola against Newcastle. Do you start Kevin De Bruyne or do you actually start Julian Alvarez? I mean, based on form, based on the current status, I actually think you need to start Julian Alvarez because whenever Alvarez plays just behind Haaland in that pocket, it just seems to run so smoothly. But then KDB is KDB. He can just change games. He can change the destiny of title races. And you cannot say things like this about many players. Look at what KDB did, an out of form KDB did against Arsenal at the Emirates. He single handedly changed the destiny of that match. First goal, it was a mistake, but then the pass for the third goal, the pass for the Haaland goal, he was ominous in that match. So KDB is a player who can change the destiny of title races. So again, it will be interesting how Pep Guardiola actually tries to bring in Kevin De Bruyne because in this kind of a formation, if you look at it, three at the back, Calvin Phillips, Rico Lewis plays there. Where does Julian Alvarez play? He'll have to play. I actually think it's actually difficult to find a spot for Julian Alvarez there if you want to play KDB. So it's still intriguing what kind of a squad he'll go with for Newcastle for me. I have all my eyes on that Newcastle game. Okay, it's important for us to win here. But the Newcastle game will be so. And look at the luck of United as well, especially exactly when they had to play them. Nick Pope is injured, and Nick Pope comes back for our game. I bet that after Saint Maxim did that to us away from home, he has not been that good this season. I don't know why is this, but teams generally like to turn up against us. I just don't know why is this. There's been no injury update on John Stones as well, so probably I think he's out for a month. This thing with John Stones, whenever it seems as if he's coming back to form, he's always out injured. So he has a hamstring literally made of glass. I think if not Stones would actually be at least one of the top three defenders of this division. He has all the talent, good defensively. He's actually very good in terms of going forward with the ball, his ability on the ball, and all of those things. And yet, injuries are concerned. And Bristol City, it seems, are bringing on the strikers very early. Probably they haven't seen the Nottingham Forest plan for us. Bring on the strikers only on the 80th minute, not now. Andreas Wyman has come, and I'm pretty sure is a striker. Though I don't pretend that I know Bristol City very well and stuff. The only thing I know is they've been unbeaten in the championship in the last 13 matches or so. That's the only thing I know about them. And what is this? Ederson is coming on. What has happened to your keeper JSK? In fact, what has happened to our keeper? Ederson is coming on instead of Stephen Ortega. Bristol City have just increased their tempo of passing, but City are pressing high as well. Vinicius is early back on his end. Okay, so I hope that the news is not. I mean, I hope that the injury is actually not that bad. It's just a precaution that has been called off. But Ortega has done pretty well in cup competitions. To be fair, against Chelsea, I would say single-handedly won us the match. Sorry, not Nottingham Forest. Bristol City are actually trying to go long ball over the top of our defense. Could be a tactical ploy. Good pressing there. Wonderful pressing. I think it was Kevin De Bruyne with the press. Vinicius, by the way, where's the midfield? Look at what Ederson has already done. He's almost committed a little bit of a comical error. Wow, Eddie. Oh, Ederson is also catching his foot. This is not good news. Just imagine if Ederson's also going off. I hope he doesn't go off injured, but I have no idea when I have no idea where's the midfield. I mean, even against Bournemouth as well, if you notice from the 60th minute, from the 70th minute onwards, there was pretty much no midfield. There was no formation at all. Everyone was playing freely in whichever role they liked. Gomez was coming into the center, Maxima Perron was playing in the center. A lot of players running through the center. I just don't know. Hope Ederson's injury is not that bad because if he goes off, then I think is Scott Carson in the squad. Good that he's able to continue. But look at the carelessness from Edison there. Nathan Ake, Kevin De Bruyne. Back to Ruben Diaz, Manuel Akanji. Bristol are pressing high. Bristol are pressing very high. It's almost the same thing which RB Leipzig did. Leipzig pressed us very high in the second half, and that's what Bristol are trying to do. They're trying to replicate that to the best of their efforts. Bristol have got the ball, but Mahrez does extremely well, and I think City get a throw. Interesting to see that De Bruyne is taking up a few positions on the left hand side sometimes as well on Foden's side because that is generally Bernardo Silva's area. So Phil Foden, Nathan Ake, Kellen Phillips, Bernardo Silva, Bernardo. It's wonderful 1-2 passing. Bernardo, Kellen Phillips. Phillips has been very good in his passing. Exactly like we identified during the break. He's been very, very good in his passing. Nathan Ake. City are like putting pressure on Bristol City, but the passing, the triangles which Bernardo, Phillips, Foden are playing is just superb. Sometimes De Bruyne is also coming onto their side, but smoothness of the passing is very good from Phillips. Nathan Ake does extremely well, and it's Phil Foden. Phil Foden's off the space. Ah, should have been 2-0, guys. Should have been 2-0. Ah, what a ball from Phil Foden. Just look at the turn of pace from Phil Foden. That was just fantastic. Now Kevin De Bruyne with the ball. De Bruyne with a lot of space and time. I thought he'll probably play a diagonal, but De Bruyne didn't. Mistake from the Bristol City player, and De Bruyne manages to keep it in play. Kevin. That is wonderful there. Again, no one there. Ball flashed across the box, and no one's there. No one's bloody there to put it in. Everyone's on side. But the first phase was very interesting. Phil Foden ball across. Why don't we play those balls when Erling Haaland is here? No mistake from Julian Alvarez. The ball just went, but I probably thought Riyad Mahrez from that side should have also attacked the ball as well. It's anticipated. City are turning on the accelerator here. Mahrez has lost the ball. But City are playing very well. Great start to this half, I must say. Nathan Ake has been so influential in terms of helping us recycle the possession, in terms of playing those balls in the channel where Foden's liking. Very good thing from Phil Foden. Sorry, from Nathan Ake. Nathan Ake again. A lot of the balls are being played through Nathan Ake, and that is interesting for me because Ake is not the best of the City players in terms of keeping possession and stuff. This just shows, like when I said, how much Ake has improved. That Pep Guardiola is trusting you with rotating possession. Great intensity from City, something which Pep was critical of, especially 2-3 weeks ago. But right now, it's almost like the energy is in terms of where Pep Guardiola literally wants it to be. Calvin Phillips has been so smooth in this game. I just can't stop singing the praises of Phillips here because he's just playing this one-touch passing which so well. It's just so mesmerizing to see Foden, Calvin Phillips, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, all of them playing one-touch passing, especially in the final third. It's been so long seeing that, right? Most of the week we are just treated to the shit of Jack Grealish doing those sideways passes. I'm sure Grealish can play one touch, but don't know for some reason he doesn't play it. But this is exciting. Phil Foden, look at that. Look at his aggressiveness in terms of carrying the ball. Give it to Mahrez, give it to Riyad. Riyad shoot! Just thought Riyad had to shoot from there. Riyad had to bloody shoot from there. I don't know why he wanted to give the favor back to Foden, but Mahrez coming in on the left foot. He just had to shoot. Phil Foden, fill into the box. It's Bernardo Silva. Put a cross in. Put a decent cross in. I think he would be better off laying it off to Phil Foden. Phil Foden, Kevin De Bruyne. Phil Foden, De Bruyne. Does De Bruyne have the confidence to put one of those outside of the foot balls in? I don't say. I don't think he has. Nathan Ake with the ball. Phil, just give it to KDB. Give it to KDB. Give it to KDB. KDB has made a run over there. I just thought there were one or two opportunities there, especially when KDB made that one. I think Foden or Ake had to play that ball in. They just I don't know why they didn't play it. Just don't know. Vinicius, they just don't shoot. Exactly, they just don't shoot. That opportunity before this as well, right? When KDB plays Mahrez in, Mahrez should have shot it. We are looking for the perfect goal. I mean, that can hurt you sometimes. Wonderful front. Kane has to. Kane, Foden's almost through. Foden's almost through over there. I Batman, I'll be so annoyed if Bristol City go there and score and it's 1-1 and we go on and have to play a replay despite dominating so much, despite having so many chances. Just bloody shoot. And when there's a poacher available, especially when Haaland plays, we don't even play those kind of passes. I'm like baffled. Why don't we play this kind of football when Erling Haaland's there? I don't know. This kind of electric football. But the football has been electric today, I must say. Especially the way Ford and Mahrez have moved. Good ball from Bernardo Silva. That's fine, but the attempt's been good from Bernardo Silva. It's been very good. City recycle the ball. Bristol City have almost been stifled now. This is almost like the perfect game which City are playing. Bristol City are not even getting a chance to attack. I've not yet observed what is the exact role Julian Alvarez is playing. Is he dropping back into the midfield or is he almost playing in that striker kind of a role? I'll have to observe him more. I've just not observed him. All my observation has been on Phil Foden and the movement of Mahrez and all of those things. Rico Lewis, Manuel Akanji, Ruben Diaz to Bernardo Silva. Nathan Ake moving into the central midfield like Lewis is doing on the other side. Nathan Ake in space. Nathan Ake with the ball. Bernardo Silva gets it back. Bernardo give it to Ake. There's no space to cross. Give it to Ake. Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips. That's another good availability. I mean, that's another good showing up for the ball. Ake was there in tangles, and Philip. One of the things about Phillips is always showing up in tight spaces. When a player is finding himself unable to recycle the ball, Phillips is showing up there as an option. That is such an important characteristic if you want to play in a Guardiola team. This is wonderful from Calvin Phillips. He's having one of the best games in a City shirt by a long mile, I would say. Rico Lewis, Kevin De Bruyne, Kevin De Bruyne, Nathan Ake. This is exemplary football, guys. Bristol are just not able to get the ball. When have we last seen City play like this? Beat be any team. They're just not able to. When was the last time they got the ball? They're just not able to get the ball. Bristol City. Vinay is just amazed with this football. Exactly. I know the finishing touch is not there. The finishing touch is not there, Vinay, and they have to shoot more. But the quality of passing, the fluidity, it's just been missing all season, right? I mean, we fans were not are not as much annoyed as us. For example, dropping points here and there, dropping points to Everton, dropping points to Nottingham Forest. It hurts. But what hurt even more was the way we were dropping points, playing that sideways, stupid football, giving up possession easily. But just look at this. This is the kind of football which we want. You play football like this, even if the result doesn't end up on side, it's fine. What annoyed us this season was the way in which we played sloppily, sideways passing, easily giving up possession. This kind of football, I think the first time this season I'm seeing this. I've not seen this city play this kind of football this season at all. This is just mesmerizing football, right? Kevin De Bruyne, the free kick. He just tried to be cheeky through the wall. Ah, again, we get the ball back. Wonderful. I think what Pep has found is he's found Rico Lewis on one side, and he's also found Bernardo Silva sometimes carrying the ball, dropping and carrying the ball on the other side from the left. And Ake has also been superb in possession. So suddenly you have Rico Lewis and Bernardo who are borderline unpressable. So suddenly Bristol City are finding it difficult to get the ball. And another thing I've noticed this, especially when we carry the ball into the final third, means the one touch passing has just been brilliant. We have lost the ball here. How do we recover defensively? Phil Foden's running back. Phil Foden's running back. Wonderful, wonderful defensive work again. Keep the ball, keep the ball, keep the ball. Nathan Ake does well. Wonderful. It was almost a good diagonal from Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne in his prime would have surely hit that pass. This look at the Bristol City players. They're just having their hands on their knees. They're just not able to do anything. Good block from Ruben Diaz over there. Bristol City are now like, whenever they get the ball, they're feeling the pressure of not giving it up because they know how hard they'll have to work in order to regain it. In the first half, there were a few moments when we were a bit careless with possession, but this half, so almost as if Guardiola tore into all of them for misplacing a few passes. But the way Calvin Phillips has kept it ticking is just amazing. Wonderful defending again. But I think we need to score the second goal to sit calmly. Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden. But I think you can not always expect that we'll score the second goal and stuff because in UCLs, in in the later stages in the UCLs, you need to have this art of defending 1-0 leads, especially in knockout competitions, you need to have this art of defending 1-0 leads, which I really want City to develop. So I would not be too unhappy if we manage to defend this 1-0 and see it through because that will also be a big feather in the cap. It will just give a lot of confidence for the team, especially when they are in that 1-0 situation again, which I'm sure will be in the season again. So again, City are putting on a passing clinic here. Riyad Mahrez still has the ball. The Bristol City player clears it. He reaches it. It's a City throw in. Rico Lewis. I think we have to take a little bit more shots, like when I was telling, we have to take a little bit more shots. Because possession, passing, everything has been perfect apart from pulling the trigger. Calvin Phillips on the ball. Misplaced pass from Calvin Phillips. The first misplaced pass, I think. He has had one or two of this half. He's had one or two misplaced passes in the first half, but you can see the intentions from Phillips there. Phillips is not taking a second touch. Calvin Phillips is always going with the first touch. He's just playing one touch football. Look at that. So I think you need to excuse him for one or two misplaced passes, especially when you're looking to play one-touch football, when you're looking to play the ball forward instead of back. Then I think you need to excuse the CDM even if he misplaces a couple of passes. That's allowed. That's okay. That's all right. City now are having to work hard to retain the ball, and that's again wonderful, wonderful work. And Kevin De Bruyne with the ball. Kevin De Bruyne and a lot of space. Ah, the shot was weak. The shot was actually very weak. But look at that approach play again. De Bruyne gets the ball, one touch passing, and boom, he gives it to Mahrez. This is something which we have missed throughout this season. Phil Foden's been called by the referee. Is it Phil Foden or is it? It's Phil Foden. Yes. He's been given a yellow, but I actually don't see much malice in that tackle or something like that. But he's got away with a few in the first half. Fair enough, I think. Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva again does well. Bernardo just. It's a City throw. I understand we'll not have possession all the time, but I think, especially in a knockout competition, knockout match, I think how well you sit back in your structure and defend when you don't have possession, how well you suffer. Famously, Pep Guardiola, I think, said the team that wins the Champions League generally are the ones that suffer the best in those harsh moments, the mentality monsters. I think that's what we need to develop. We must be okay with not having possession for certain spells of the time and defend well. And I think that is one quality which we are still working on. It's a work in progress. Harshvardhan is here. Hey mate, how are you? He says, keep it up, mate. It will come. Hopefully, it will come. Hopefully, it will come. Hopefully, the goal will come. I know we are not able to retain the possession as much here. It's a corner for Bristol City. That is what Bristol City are waiting for. That is what Bristol City are actually keenly waiting for, a corner. They are absolutely good from the set pieces. They are very, very good from the set pieces. So we'll have to defend it well. Come on, Ruben. Just can't concede from a set piece. Nathan Ake does well. Ake does extremely well. There's another chance for Bristol City player to put the ball into the box, and very well done. Excellent defending, because Bristol is strong on set pieces, especially from the championship. You expect championship teams to be very strong on the set pieces, especially due to the physicality they face day in and day out. It's more physical than the Premier League, I must say, the championship. Might not be on the tactical level of a Premier League, but in terms of physicality, it is up there with top leagues of the world. Ah, Eddie does well to keep hold of the ball. De Bruyne receives the ball. Kevin De Bruyne does extremely well drawing in two players and he plays it to Phil Foden. Where is Calvin? They need Calvin. Wonderful Calvin. He's just making himself available there. I think this might be another difference. This what we can see is a little bit more mobility with Calvin Phillips. Apart, when compared to Rodri, the positions Rodri occupies is a little bit different. Rodri, more often than not, tends to move in those central regions. He moves forward. We know he moves forward, likes to have a long shot, but he moves forward more in those central regions. Whereas Calvin Phillips, he's moving especially from the center and also on the left hand side, and is making himself available for those triangles and stuff. Nasir is here. Hey Nasir, how are you doing, mate? Ah, the through ball was just a bit wide. The through ball is just a bit wide. Nasir says, "Have you got a new setup?" No, no, it's not a new setup actually. It's just that I don't have a green screen today behind me. That's the only thing. That's why you can see this the wall as the background. That's all. Ah, chance, chance for Bristol, right? Guys, it was a chance for Bristol City. Oh, that was a chance. This is where we need to be careful. Was it well defended by Kanji? Let me see it. Yes, it was. I think it was a good defensive header from Manuel Akanji there. Otherwise, it was 1-1. It was a good defensive header from Manuel Akanji. Another set piece for Bristol. Oh, Riyad Mahrez is going off and Jack Grealish is coming on. Welcome back, Jackie. But we have to defend this set piece. Nasir, this is the quarter final. I guess this is the last 16 actually. They call it the last 16. It's a 3-on-2. It was almost 3-on-2 for City's favor, but yeah, Nasir, this is the round of 16, and the team which wins this will go into the round of 8 in the FA Cup. And then there's the semi-finals and then the final. So yeah, this is the round of 16. But scary moments for City, absolutely scary moments. It just feels as if 1-0 and there's always a chance for the opponent. Always a chance. But Nasir, Bristol is not your another team from the championship. Bristol is unbeaten in the last 14 matches in the championship. So Bristol are flying high. Bristol are doing good. Their brand of football is good. They play well. They press well. Bristol is a good team. That Bristol is not your easy team to play against or something like that. We have Newcastle. Nasir, this Saturday. It's an early kickoff. It's an early afternoon kickoff. Newcastle will be damn tough again. The only saving grace is it's at the Etihad. It's not it's St James's Park. It's at our home. Ruben Diaz and co. Ruben Diaz and company having to do a lot of defending. Akanji good defensive header. Ruben Diaz good defensive block a while ago. So Bristol City are creating chances. That spell of possession which we had, mesmeric spell of possession, we're not seeing it again. Think we need to keep the ball for a while just to and score a goal, especially one more goal, and I think it will kill off Bristol, especially with the way we are keeping possession and stuff. Grealish on the left now. Foden's been sent to the right. I just think probably Pep sees Foden. I won't say long term on the right wing, but Pep sees Foden being able to play on both sides. Foden does well. Actually, it's Jack. Jack does well. Very good run by Nathan Ake. It's a goal. Foden goal through deflection. But everything about that goal was about Nathan Ake, right? Everything was about the run that Nathan Ake made. Wonderful run by Nathan Ake. Wow. Ake just opened up the defense there. He just opened up the Bristol City defense. Just look at the run. Nathan Ake. Wonderful run again. No one expected him. Look at it. Clearly on side. Nathan Ake, look at it. The run and the pass as well, the run and having the consciousness, having that, and he kept his head to pass, and then Julian Alvarez again, good assistant. Is it the second ball for Foden? Second goal for Foden today, or is it an own goal? Yes, we did score. It's 2-0 now. We did score. I hope it isn't an own goal. I think they have evaded the goal to Phil Foden. You guys are very good, but not better than Arsenal. But we defeated Arsenal at the Emirates, right? Still, how can you say we are not better than Arsenal? We defeated Arsenal at the Emirates. What else should we do to prove we are better than Arsenal? And in another way, why do we need to prove that we are better than this team or that team? Because four Premier League titles in the last 5 years, if they don't tell you who is the boss, who is the better team, then nothing will, I think. Nothing will. And what most people don't realize is that we are going for a third Premier League title in a row, which has been done only once in the history in English football history. We are trying to do that. So we might end up achieving it this season, or we might not. Still, the very fact that we have come that far to fight for a third Premier League in a row tells you the places this team has gone. Irrespective of people telling, oh, City have dropped off, this and that, I would like to ask people who tell that, how many teams have done this before? Won two Premier League titles in a row and have been contention to win third? Not many, right? Not many. Yeah, exactly, Vinay. This is transition season. Exactly. That's what I think we are discussing. I think a week or 2 weeks back as well, and that's what I try to tell people as well. This is the transition season, and the very fact that we are still fighting for the Premier League title, we are very well in a well within the chance. We are well within the reach of a Premier League title, of the third Premier League title in a row, despite a transition season, despite Pep not having a settled 11. We are already in March. What today is the 1st of March? Still, Pep doesn't have a settled 11, and all of this. It's just kudos. We could have dropped like Liverpool and everyone, and we could have earned the sympathies that transition season, this, that, is Haaland good enough and all. Nothing. We are still the speciality of this team is, especially when compared to Liverpool, is we tend to adapt much better even in a transition season, because there were transition seasons in between as well. In this cycle which Pep has been here, there have been transition seasons in between, but still the greatness of this team is we have not allowed it to be shown, and we have gone on and won titles. This season it's just getting shown a bit, and people are like, City are this, City are that. No, three Premier League titles in a row. Just dreaming of that is even greatness for me. The fact that we are in a shout of that, the fact that we are within defeating Arsenal at the Etihad, of almost getting there, that thing is something else. So whatever happens this season, proud of the team. City are again in that rhythm. But that sequence was just excellent, right? That sequence of passing the ball. 1-2 is there for the second goal. For the first goal, it was good, but for the second goal, it was just exemplary. Ake making the run, dragging the opposition centre back out of possession, and then Alvarez getting to the ball, making that pass to Foden, cutting in. That's just vintage Pep Guardiola football, nothing else. Wonderful. The patterns of play, the perfection with which it is executed. Fantastic. Again, good ball. The touch is a dream from Jack Grealish. Jack, 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 Jack. Has it gone in? Has the ball gone in from Jack Grealish? For a moment, I actually thought the ball went in actually. But that is wonderful play from Jack. It just went over, but for a moment you thought the ball just sneaked through in real time, sneaked inside. But wonderful play from Jack, and it sort of surprised everyone that he went for the shot. Everyone thought he would cross. The goalkeeper himself was surprised. You could see the reaction. Nathan Ake. City are all over like a rash, all over Bristol City like a rash. Bristol don't have any room to breathe. City are just suffocating Bristol City. Edison with the pass out. Rico Lewis, the unsung hero, yet again. Whenever Rico Lewis has played, I don't think he has got less than an 8 right in every match he started. He hasn't done bad at all, not even a single bad performance. Okay, he's given the ball away here and there, that too rarely, and that is fine. But apart from that, not a single bad performance. Bernardo Silva, KDB, and that is the worldie we are waiting for. Well put, Vinay. KDB worldie, exactly the wonder KDB goal that we have been waiting for. Outside of the boot, right? Outside of the boot shot. Wonderful, wonderful. It's a very difficult shot to beat the goalkeeper, especially from that range. The speciality of that is, I think, outside of the boot, where the ball just curls away from you, and it just curls little bit at the end to be inside the post. But just look at that, the ball is always curling away from the goalkeeper. That is a KDB outside of the boot special. Wonderful, wonderful goal from KDB. Is this the game where KDB has announced himself back in form? Wonderful from KDB there. Assist for Grealish. Nowadays, whenever Grealish is coming on, he's assisting, right? But again, this again makes me think against Newcastle, for example, are you gonna leave out Julian Alvarez and play Kevin De Bruyne? Still, I don't know. I don't know. Cole Palmer's coming on, good for him. And who's the other one who's coming on? Sergio Gomez is coming on. I would have loved to see Maxima Perron coming on, but no, Sergio Gomez is coming on. Did Nathan Ake go off? I haven't seen him, but yeah, no, he didn't. I think it's Foden and KDB who have gone off, and it's interesting that Pep is actually playing Sergio Gomez in the midfield in the last two matches. That for me is very, very interesting. Especially against Bournemouth, he gave 30 minutes, almost 20 minutes for Gomez in the midfield, in the center of the midfield. And here again, his Gomez is essentially replacing Kevin De Bruyne here because Palmer's replacing Foden, right? No, KDB is there. Sergio Gomez. I think Gomez is actually playing at left back. I don't know. I haven't seen this up. Ake Foden 10 by 10. You're right. The run from Ake. I think that combination of Ake and Foden should start every bloody game from now on in the Premier League till the season ends. Especially it should start. That combination should start every Champions League game. But my question is, does Pep actually see Sergio Gomez as a left back or does he see him as a midfielder? So I have doubts over that. I thought that was the fourth goal, but Cole Palmer, it's Jack Grealish actually. Now it's with Cole Palmer, Kevin De Bruyne, Jack Grealish, Kevin De Bruyne. Rico Lewis does well, and the ball is recycled back to Manuel Akanji. Sergio Gomez, look at it. Sergio Gomez is actually occupying a central position more than anything else. Rico Lewis, Calvin Phillips, wonderful diagonal from Calvin Phillips. Cole Palmer, Manuel Akanji. Phillips has been magnificent, I would say. Kevin De Bruyne, Sergio Gomez. Yeah, it's actually Ake who had gone off, and Ake and Foden and Palmer and Gomez are his replacements. Cole Palmer, Palmer's doing extremely well with it. What a pass! How have we not scored there? What a pass that was from Cole Palmer. Wonderful vision from Cole Palmer. Just thinking, how have we not scored over there? Let us score one more goal. It is almost criminal not to score from that pass from Cole Palmer. That pass is almost magnificent. Manuel Akanji on the ball. They're fighting. A fight has broken down now. Calvin Phillips is the peacemaker over there. Don't know what the fight was about. There was a City player on the ground, and I think a Bristol City player actually pushed a City player, and after that the fight began. So he's given a card to Bernardo Silva. No surprise the ref is Andre Mariner, but he's had a good game, I would say. He let the game flow, and good game from the ref. I would say two things stand out in this game for me. The first thing is the way Calvin Phillips is occupying positions to receive the ball and then dictate play. It's a remarkable change from what he has been doing in the few against Southampton in the Carabao Cup quarter final, for example, and all of that. Is there a penalty check there? It hit the arm, but I think the defender was already trying to block it and had his body turned away from it. So that would be harsh, I think, if it's given. Yeah, not even reviewed. Yeah, Maxima Peron comes, but I mean, when if that thing against Leipzig has not been reviewed, where he does a volleyball punch like this, right? Then then we should not be surprised if this is not reviewed, right? That was one of the most blatant and obvious handballs you'll ever see, right? He literally volleyball punched it in a Champions League quarterfinal in a Champions League last 16, and you don't even have a look at it. That's just criminal what they did to Leipzig. It was such a clear handball. But Maxima Peron is coming on. I would have loved to see him at least with 10 minutes to go. Vinay says that's what they want. We miss. They wanna kill. Exactly, Vinay. Exactly. I think we should not depend on decisions and stuff from on now on. We have to score our. We have to make our own destiny. We have to finish the job. I think it was you who had said in a comment after that thing as well, right? After the handball thing as well, that we have to make our own destiny. We cannot depend on these referees for giving calls in our favor. That is so true, right? That is so true. Bristol City have been taught a footballing lesson, I would say. The passing, the movement, the patterns of play. They were like spellbound in that 15 minute space in the second half when we were just passing them to death. That is when Pep Guardiola teams are at their absolute best. Pass them to death. Again, the question will arise, is this kind of football possible with Erling Haaland in the team? I mean, I do not know the answer to that, and I don't think even Pep Guardiola will know the answer to that because he bought in Erling Haaland to actually play a different kind of football. So you just can't expect that football and tell Haaland to adjust into it. No, those are not his strengths. So I think it would be a false thesis to even false hypothesis to even think of Haaland in a way that will he fit in Pep Guardiola's passing system. Of course not. He will not. But the fact that Pep wanted him means that Pep is inclined. Pep is looking for a change of system. Pep is looking at a different way of trying to play this season. Look at Ederson there. He's trying all of his with all of his might to not have a clean sheet. He's trying with all of his might to mess up the clean sheet. Calvin Phillips there. Calvin plays it a diagonal. Yeah, the passing. Look at the longer range passing from Phillips as well. It's actually very good. 40 more seconds to go, but passing from Phillips is just the range of it is just fantastic. The most important thing here is don't pass the ball back to Ederson because he'll just do something to spoil the clean sheet. And that's full time. It's a match that could actually prove crucial at this stage of the season for us because we saw that partnership between Foden and Ake develop and the understanding has been so good. It's been so exemplary. But unfortunately, I do not know if we'll see that partnership as often as this because generally Grealish plays on the left and Foden plays on the right, right? So I do not know, but I would love to see this partnership more often, Foden Ake on that left hand side. But then where do you put Grealish? That's another question. But now, how does Pep drop Phil Foden in this form? You do not know. So I mean, against Newcastle, whom do you start then? Because Foden, Mahrez, Grealish, everyone's now in fantastic form. So, do not know no answer to that. But the run from Ake, the way Phil Foden moved, he was electric, both inside and outside. The runs he made, the way he pressed, the way Nathan Ake recycled the ball, the possession, uh, everything has been fantastic. And the second thing is Calvin Phillips for me. Calvin Phillips' range of passing was on show, especially a few instances in the second half when he stuck those diagonals, when he was spraying the ball around from the outside of his foot once or twice. It's just been fantastic. It's just been wonderful from Calvin Phillips there. I actually think you could even play Calvin Phillips alongside Rodri as well, I think, as a box to box midfielder. That is very much possible, I think. Don't know how Pep thinks on that, but one thing about Calvin Phillips is that he seems to be he's more mobile and And the thing what I've observed is he's always available there to receive that pass. He's available as a third man. When someone today was in trouble, when they had no way to pass out the ball, Phillips was always an outlet. Phillips was the one who completed that triangle actually. So that is very interesting for me. So I'm not comparing Phillips to Rodri here. That would just be stupidity. That's all. Rodri right now is the best DM in the world, and Calvin Phillips is trying to achieve that. But Rodri is a different kind of a player. For me, Rodri is almost a Sergio Busquets kind of a player. His strengths are different, but Calvin Phillips, I mean, I dare not compare him, but for me, the nearest comparison is in his style, especially is Fernandino, for example, and his passing range is somewhat like a Xabi Alonso. Again, it's improving, but his passing range is almost of that talent of Calvin Phillips, and he's very mobile and something like Fernandino. So I think we have two different types of CDMs here, and as both get regular playing time in the team, I think we might see Phillips play as a box-to-box player alongside Rodri, or we might also see Calvin Phillips play in games where you need that all-action midfielder, you need that player who can cover lot of amount of spaces and stuff like that. Whereas you will see Rodri playing games where you need to calm things down a bit. You need to recycle possession with the defense and stuff like that. So both are two different kind of players, Phillips and Rodri for me, and very bad to compare. And I think this performance is also for all of us, including me, who was in a way a bit telling that Calvin Phillips is having a shit season. Why have we not gone with Romeo Lavia, and why have we gone with Calvin Phillips and all of those things? So I mean, in a sense, you knew that Rodri had a shit season when he came as well. The first season, people were telling his shit. Is he the one who will replace Fernandino? Look at what he's become now. I think the same thing happened with Grealish, and look at how he's playing now. Same thing will happen with Phillips, because that is what happens with Pep Guardiola style of players. So I think it's just we need to keep a bit calm, and let's see Calvin Phillips improve more and more. Yeah, Vinay. Good morning, good night. I think good morning would be apt. Good morning, Vinay. JSK says Ruben Diaz had a great game, by the way. The entire defense had a great game, I would say, but in vastly different ways. Natanake had a great game in terms of, he was the one who was coming out with the ball. He was the one who was making those overlapping runs. They played a back three, right? And he was passing it to Foden. He was keeping the ball and stuff. And Ruben Diaz made a couple of excellent. I mean, pure defensively, I think Ruben Diaz had an excellent game. Made certain crucial blocks, was at his best. Akanji made some crucial blocks. But Natanake for me was the impressive of the three, because Natanake showed another side to his game. Natanake showed the attacking side, not just passing and stuff. Natanake showed that intelligence of making those runs. We just saw one run which got out the defense and Foden scored from it, but there were at least two, three, four runs where the final pass was not made, but Natanake made those runs, and the defender and the final centre back was, should I go with Ake or should I stick with Foden? And they had dilemmas like that. So Ake did extremely well. His off the ball running today was excellent, and he was in position whenever Bristol City got the ball and tried to counter attack. So Nathan Ake for me really put up an impressive performance. JSK this, and also why Ederson? I can't escape from this guy. That's what JSK. Stefan Ortega. I mean, poor Stefan Ortega. He got a whack on his hand, and Mr. Ederson had to come on in the second half, and Ederson still did some one or two silly mistakes, and we could have even given the goal away. He was a bit clumsy for one or two moments in the second half. I was convinced that today Ederson will do some kind of a side thing in order to prevent him from getting the clean sheet. It seems as if Ederson had taken a New Year resolution that I will do my best not to keep clean sheets this season. Must be that, because every time he either doesn't make any effort to preserve his clean sheet, or he does some silly mistakes, some stupid mistakes, and gives the goal to opposition. Anyway, guys, a wonderful game, and great that City won. And tougher tests lay ahead, but great that we got the job done. We got a couple of players getting back into rhythm. Specifically, KDB and Nathan Ake did look good. Foden looked ominous. Alvarez, as usual, was a pressing machine. Today, everyone at least has an 8 by 10. I would say everyone. Maybe not Edison, but apart from that, everyone has an 8 by 10. And more than the win today, the team, it almost gave you an indication that the team was discovering who they are this season. Team was discovering their structure, the team was discovering their patterns of play. For Calvin Phillips was importantly discovering himself. De Bruyne was discovering himself. So in a way, Ake was discovering himself. In a way, the entire team was discovering its sort of identity that it has maybe forgotten this season. Maybe at times it looked as if who are they? Are the real city? No intensity, no press, this and that. And today it seems as if the team has gotten all of that back. So apart from the win, I think there are much positive things which we have done today, and it's just been a wonderful watch, not a dull moment today. And anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me, and enjoy the night, or morning, or afternoon, depending on whichever place of the world you're from. And see you guys, and take care.